That's how we're starting the episode.
Oh my gosh. So the video is kind of like our behind the scenes. So that's already rolling and we just go with that. And then obviously the audio version gets all edited nicely. So, but yeah, so here we are. So are you ready, Mr. Nick?
Yeah, one sec. Let me adjust this before we start it this time so people don't have to hear it.
Okay.
Hello, hello. That sounds about right to me.
I love it. All right, here we go. What? I don't even know what week we're on anymore.
17?
18 something.
20?
Yeah, okay. Here we go.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
I always love that.
Yeah, we just throw people off with that.
We
I don't
love
know.
doing
You
that.
do that intentionally.
Yes,
I love it.
we're just
Yeah.
like, who's going to say first, second, third? All right. Well, we are here.
We're here.
We're here.
Recording from the Kelly Davies studio.
In the know, in the 920.
Yeah.
We're here with Kate Brunner. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. And Kate is the owner of Oasis Senior Advisors, right?
Yes.
And we're
I
going to
am.
hear all about it today.
Awesome.
Right after we have our cute little blondie tell us our intro, of course.
Yeah. Wait, that's not me.
In the know in the 920.
I think always jams to this.
I saw you on the last one, Rob.
Yeah, I love that song.
You know how many like little music clips I listened to end to choose that one? It was just ridiculous. I should have.
Sounded like it was a lot.
Yeah.
That was a winner.
Well, thank you. It was one of those. I knew we were going to have it for a long time.
Yeah.
Didn't want it to be too annoying. You know, all the things. All the things. Big life choices.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
it's right up
Kate,
there.
thank you again so much for being here. So, again, Kate Brunner, owner, Oasis Senior Advisors.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
How long have you owned it?
I just had my year anniversary.
Congratulations. That's
Yes.
amazing. So
Super exciting.
tell us all about it.
So, Oasis Senior Advisors is a national organization. There are about 200 franchise owners across the country.
Okay.
And I opened my doors in July of last year. There is a Green Bay owner that opened in August of last year.
Okay.
And then Oasis Senior Advisors of Milwaukee has been in business for about 8 years, and Madison has been here almost 5.
Wow.
So
I did not know that it was
Yeah, we're a little late to the party up here.
nationwide. That's
It is.
awesome.
Yeah,
Very cool.
very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that it existed, so.
This is why
is why
I
I'm
love
learning
this because
things.
we learn so many
Yes.
things. Seriously.
exactly.
I love that. And that's what we want to do in the community as well is get people, you know, in the know and know where they can go when they need these resources.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay, Kate, tell us all about what you guys do.
So we help seniors and their families navigate through really any life change that they may need help with. One thing that's really fantastic about Oasis, I met with several different agencies. I even contemplating starting my own.
Okay.
And I've been working in senior living since 1995. So I'm
Okay.
very old.
I was going to ask you.
doing
No,
this
you're
a
not.
very
I was
long
going to ask
time.
you if this was like this was a new career change or if you'd been doing this. Okay.
Yeah, so I have a degree in healthcare administration. I have my administrator's license. I ran a couple nursing homes, couple
Okay.
assisted livings in
Sure.
the late 90s and the early 2000s, and then really fell in love with the movement and the sales and marketing avenue for assisted living and senior living in general. So just really loved helping people, and I felt like I could do so much more out in the marketplace rather than being a director and just being in one community.
Sure.
Very valuable position, very important position. But for me, I just felt for my personality, it would be good for me to just be out and about. So really about 2 years ago, I started thinking like, what's next? I've
Sure.
been in I was the vice president of sales and marketing for Heritage Senior Living. So Aspire, Oshkosh, Aspire, Appleton, and Kimberly. Those were both communities that I helped serve. And I really felt like there was no more room for upward mobility for me with that organization. So I
Sure.
could stay because I loved it.
Yep.
Or I could try to do something on my own. And this would probably be the right time in my life to do something like that.
Sure.
So I met with several different organizations. The one thing I thought that was really cool about Oasis is we're actually owned by a company called Silver Assist. So
Okay.
we have Veterans Aid in Attendance, Elder Life Financial. We work with so many different organizations that when somebody calls in and they're looking for anything really, we are truly a one-stop shop. So we're a free service to families, but we also understand that families don't know all the resources that are out there.
Sure.
And so I know we talked a little bit before we
Yeah.
even went live today about how important it is to have local resources and to be able to provide those resources to family as quickly as possible, but also as efficiently as possible, because many times when we're helping families, there was a crisis and somebody ended up in the hospital, somebody's in a skilled nursing, and they either need a little bit more supportive care at home, they need assisted living placement, they just have a recent dementia diagnosis, so now they need to find a memory care option. So all of those things, we're able to work with families very quickly and efficiently with all the amazing partners that we have in this area, and just say, we think that these few places are going to be the best fit for you, and this is why. And sometimes it's tied to a timeline and occupancy if somebody has an opening. Sometimes it's a specialty
Sure.
that a community has, clinical capabilities. So we work really closely with all of our local partners to be able to help families to make a choice really efficiently, the best choice possible. We go with them on this entire journey. Some people see us as another granddaughter kind of coming along on the journey,
Yep.
a trusted resource and a friend. And it really is all possible because all of our partners in the area support us so that we're able to provide this great resource free to families.
Well, I think it's so nice because in that time, like you said, a lot of times it's like crisis mode, panic mode. You don't want to be, it can be very overwhelming to have too many options and too many, like, well, where do I even go?
Yes.
And then it's just like,
And
no,
you
thank
don't
you.
want, like,
Yeah.
I feel like there's also a lot of bureaucracy, maybe is the word I'm looking for in that, where it's
Yeah.
just like there's so much, I don't know which form goes where and which organization I talk to now. And
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you're
Yeah.
able to just put that all together for people.
We are.
That's
Yes.
so great. I love that. I love
It
that.
is a dream come true.
I'm so glad that you
Yeah.
obviously love it. You have a passion for it, which truly obviously helps. And like you said, I'm sure a lot of it, like sometimes you're like the next granddaughter,
Yeah.
people want to trust you and just like, make you part of the fam. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. It's been so awesome.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you explain a little bit more of the inner workings? Because I'm really curious about like how do all these pieces kind of tie together? Like, okay, so let's just say, you get a call from a family and, dad's in the hospital and he has dementia, right? And they're looking for resources. So then what happens from there?
So typically what we'll do is we'll get a call from the hospital saying, we have a patient that's in need of your services.
Sure.
So immediately we come up and meet with the patient.
Okay.
We meet with the family and we talk through options and what those look like. And we also help them to find resources because many of these resources are very expensive. And so we want to make sure that, that they've planned appropriately. And then if they have not planned appropriately, we have an incredible aging and disability resource center up here in the Valley that
Okay.
we're able to connect them. And through that, then they're able to provide some resources for families so that these patients are getting the help that they need.
That's really nice. Okay, so basically, if I'm understanding you correctly, obviously you said your services are free. The connection part is free.
Yes.
But then say you are connecting them to a certain assisted living facility, rehab facility, whatever. That's all gonna cost them, right? That's
Yes.
all on their
Yes.
dime.
Yes.
Okay. So is there like insurance? How does that all work?
Yeah, so things have really changed throughout the years. When I started doing this, in 2000, really is when I really was managing communities. The insurance was beautiful back then. So if you had Medicare and you had a hip fracture or hip surgery replacement, you would almost automatically get your 100 days of Medicare
Okay.
in skilled nursing. And by then, you were pretty much ready to go home.
Home, sure.
Yeah. And now we're seeing people that have hip replacements or hip surgery that are going home or needing care within 2 weeks. And they're not ready. We're not ready. People are just not ready to be home safely. They want to go home,
Sure.
of course.
Of course. Yeah.
And so it's really important that you have a plan in advance so that you know where you're going. We work with families all the time where there isn't a crisis and they just want to be the ones making the decision for where they're going to go. So they may not need this for 5 years.
Sure.
But when they do, they're going to say, nope, I already toured. I made this selection. This is where I want to be. And we will be with that family throughout this entire process.
Sure.
Now, there's a handful of times where we get the crisis calls and we say, I don't even know where to start, right? And that's where people like us come in and we provide those resources for families as quickly and efficiently as possible. And I need to say that, I've worked all throughout the state and other states, in the country, and the folks up in the valley are so responsive, so receptive, so like jumping all over it, very collaborative. And, if they can help somebody, they're going to help somebody. But if they can't, we're doing the right thing and saying, I don't think we can do this, but maybe we could bring in this other resource and make this, a perfect fit.
Sure.
I have a perfect example of right now I'm working with a client who's in skilled nursing that needs a lot of care, but not enough care to keep them in a skilled nursing. So skilled nursing's used to be, we'll come here for 6 to 8 weeks, we'll go home. Now with insurances, we're only getting a couple weeks and then we're having to pay privately to stay in a nursing home, which is very costly. And many times because of all the seniors that need help, skilled nursing doesn't even have this capacity to care for them anymore,
sure.
right? So then we're going to these amazing assisted livings, but sometimes they don't even have the clinical capabilities to take care of somebody that needs that much care. And so then we'll resource in home care, hospice care, and they'll come into these communities and find care. And there's like this crazy misconception out there still that once you go to assisted living, then you're going to have to go to a nursing home. And the reality is in many assisted livings, that's their home. That's their final destination, right? Where they're going to go, services will be brought in, and they'll be able to take care of them, and they can stay in their own kind of apartment-like setting, which is, much more comfortable than being in a hospital setting, right?
Sure.
And they can stay there for the rest of their lives. So
Right.
it's really kind of a great way to collaborate with all of our partners up here to make sure that they're getting the care they need and in an environment that's, really desirable, quite
for
honestly.
Sure. I gotta say, I went to a local assisted living to meet with a very, very sweet lady that was selling her house. And mostly the kids were, her adult kids were
Yeah.
taking care of things, but she was very, had all her faculties and she was signing all the papers, right? And let me tell you, she was talking about Fridays, happy hours, the bingo night. And I'm like, well, sign me up. This
Yeah.
doesn't sound so bad. I'm in all seriousness, though, it's really great that they offer all of those things. It really, really is. Because I think, too, there's probably a lot of isolation,
There is.
right? In the
Yeah.
older
Yep.
age groups,
Yep.
which is sad.
Yeah, we find so many times when people go into the communities, they're frustrated that they didn't decide sooner, to make that kind of move. And I say to families, and I've been saying this for years, and I kind of define it as a triangle. So if you're getting your 3 meals a day, every day, around the same time, and you're getting your meals or your medications, same time, every day, and you're being socially stimulated every day, it's like that is like a beautifully working triangle.
That's so true.
Like, they're new people. Because when you're living at home, all of us know how busy we get. Sometimes we're lucky if we get a meal in a day,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't lose weight because of that, which is whole nother day.
I hear you.
We'll
Yeah.
come back for that. But they don't eat. They're not hungry. They're using meals. They're eating spoiled food that they shouldn't be eating. They're not taking care of themselves. They're maybe taking their meds or they feel good that day, so they're not going to take them the next day. And then socialization, forget about it, right? You don't want to leave your home, but why? Because I want to be, it's like literally living in a dorm as a senior in most of these places. You're right. It's like, well, I want to come back for happy hour. There's so many cool things going on, and people live again. They live again. It is
That's how I
so
that's
cool.
exactly what I think too. And that's where I just think oh my gosh, our grandparents would thrive because
Yes.
they just love to talk to everybody.
Yes.
Everybody.
Well, that's the thing. You've got a lifetime of stories to tell.
A lifetime. And I think sometimes, when they can communicate too with other people that are that age, in that age group, they all sort of appreciate all of that more, right?
Yes.
We love hearing the stories, but you know what I mean? They can
It's not the
relate to
same.
them more.
Doesn't-
And,
Yeah.
yeah. That's so cool. I love that. And there's different levels of assisted living, right?
Yes, there
depending
are.
on kind of where you're at.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, and you can go in as independent as possible, right? And in many cases, stay in that same apartment or suite the entire time. And then you just kind of have some care services added as you need them,
Sure.
right? And so that's the beautiful thing about all these options up in the valley is many of them offer, a full continuum of care. So you don't even have to worry about leaving. And like you mentioned, I think as family, we feel that guilt, right? When my dad was sick, I wanted him to come and live with me. He did not want to come and live with me. He's like, I love you,
Right.
love the grandbabies, all of those things.
Right.
But they don't want that 24/7 for the most part. And we feel like they do.
Correct.
But the reality is that when you're around people your age that like the same things, that want to do the same things, even as simple as putting together a puzzle
Sure.
or playing a card game. Even if you just want to sit in your apartment and read a book and you say, I don't want to be around anybody, isn't it a beautiful thing to know that with a click of a button, somebody can come in there to help you if there's an emergency? It's like an incredible peace of mind to bring people that you can still have all of your independence, but know within minutes, if there's an emergency, someone's going to be there to help you.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
It is really good stuff. I mean,
Yes.
really, really, really good stuff. And I love that, again, you are able to provide the resources and the connections because, I wouldn't know where to start.
No.
I wouldn't know where to start.
I wouldn't know where to start if I was selling my home, right? So all of us have our areas of expertise.
Sure.
And we just want to be able to give back. It truly is an honor. Like, seriously.
I love that.
I am so blessed to be able to do what I do. And I have been, my mom was in healthcare. So they would do zoo trips. They would do outings. And anytime we had off of school, we were in there pushing wheelchairs, to help.
I love that.
And so really, I'm 48. So for 40 years, this has been my life, because my mom would bring us
Yep.
along. And so it's truly a calling. I'm very passionate about it. But I also take it very seriously, right? Because these are human beings.
Right.
And there are going to be mishaps. Nobody's perfect, right?
That's so
We're
true.
humans taking care of humans. So you can't expect to move into a community and it's going to be 100% spot on, fabulous every day of the week, because that's not real life, right? It's kind of like you're at home and your dog gets sick, right?
Right.
As you're walking out the door.
Right.
Or your daughter's sick or whatever that is. These
Yep.
are real life
Real
things
life
that
things
happen. But we have incredible people up in the valley that are just eager to take care
Sure.
of their seniors.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's so cool. So what is a typical I mean, I know your days are all over the place. But what kind of lay that out for us?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could plan. We were talking about this
Yeah.
a little bit before we went live.
Maybe there is a plan, but then that plan goes right out the window,
yes,
right?
exactly.
That's how mine are too.
Yep, and I struggle with that a little bit, and I was sharing that with you earlier that I tend to like be a bit of a structure girl, and
too.
that there's no way. And so, typically we like to obviously. We have a database. So in the morning, I'm an early riser. So I typically will go in there and make sure, like, have I touched all the clients I need to touch? Have I, made the contacts that I need to make? And then it's really, as soon as business hours hit, calling and finding out, have my clients been assessed? Have they been accepted? Have the families called the movers? Do they need to meet with a realtor? What kind of resources do they need for veterans aid and attendance? So I mean, there is no day that is the same, but it typically starts out that way and then ends that way, to where I come back and I have a huge whiteboard with everyone's name on it and
Love that.
kind of where they're at in the process, so that I don't lose sight of it.
Exactly.
And I screw up too. Like we're all, again,
Like you said,
human.
we are humans taking care of humans.
We are.
in
We are.
any facet, right?
Yes.
Like anything. It's,
Yes.
Yeah.
But I try really
That's
hard.
awesome. I'm sure you do a fantastic job.
I do try
There's
really,
a lot of
really
moving
hard.
pieces. Yeah,
Yes.
there's a lot of moving pieces. You mentioned that there's, I think you said something about like, it was called like aging and resources or something for maybe like seniors that don't have Medicare, Medicaid.
Sure.
How does that work?
Yeah, so, typically if they're in the hospital or if they're in a skilled nursing setting for rehab, those social work teams there are incredible.
Okay.
And they usually will start that process. So if a family is going to need more care, Medicare does not cover assisted living at all.
Okay.
And so if they have financial resources, then they're going to be a private pay customer. If they don't have any resources, then that's when they'll meet with the Aging and Disability Resource Center. It's the ADRC.
Okay.
And every county has them. They have incredible specialists. They'll do an intake on that person.
Okay.
And they'll help families to fill out applications to see if they qualify for some resources, which really is a family care program for Medicaid for assisted living.
Okay.
So there are several managed care organizations that are awesome that partner with seniors out in the community, and they're able to provide resources to help pay for their stay in communities.
Okay.
So,
Gotcha.
and the ADRC is good for a million other things. They typically will have, outings, resources, just a really great resource for seniors
Yeah.
in the market.
Sure.
Same with some of the senior centers. The senior centers are awesome resources as well. But our job is to be able to get in touch with families, identify who they need to talk to be able to get them the resources that they need so that we can help them find a home or home care.
Sure. And I'm sure efficiently too, right? Because
Yes.
it's a lot of times probably time is of the essence.
Yes.
Especially if it's like a crisis situation.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's and I love this kind of stuff because these are the kind of things that you don't think about every day, right? You don't think about like this is all going on every day, but it is.
It
and
is.
it's so needed. It's crazy. Wow. I love it. What do you think, because obviously you've been in this career path for a long time, right? What do you think are some things that people can do, like, maybe like me, realtor, But to more properly prepare for the future, right? Because I'm sure you have seen like those that are really prepared, and just like in real estate, we see people
Right.
that are really, really prepared for selling
Yes.
or buying, and then we see people that and so what can you do earlier on in life to kind of set yourself up for more success?
Yeah, I think we touched on this a little bit, and I have some really great resources that I can get to you or to anybody else that's interested. But long-term care insurance is a must.
Okay.
And the earlier that you get long-term care insurance, the more affordable it is, right?
Okay.
So you can't go in to find long-term care insurance at 85.
Gotcha.
It's like not going to probably
right,
happen.
right.
It's probably not worth it.
Yes.
But for somebody like my parents got their long-term care insurance policy at 50 when they
Okay.
were 50. And I think it was like $300 a month.
Okay.
Okay. But what happens is now, should my mom ever need assisted living care, with that policy, it pays for 8 years of assisted living up to $7,000 a month.
Wow.
So,
Dang.
boy, is that worth it.
For sure.
Now, unfortunately, because my dad passed, he was able to utilize a bit of that home care benefit, but you see where it works out well for one person,
Sure.
right? And then not so well. So that's how these policies are able to be what they are. But because
That's
of
kind of the
that-
whole insurance thing,
Exactly,
right? Yep.
exactly. So we work with several clients. Just had one place last week where she had a $280 a day benefit for 5 years in an assisted living. And so she was so worried about her kids not getting her home because that's what she really wanted.
I think a lot of people worry about that.
And it's like, okay, well, guess what? Your long-term care insurance that you've been paying for 16 years covers you for 5 years at that rate. So there's a chance that your kids are still you're still going to be able to pass that down. It's a lake home. It's like one of those things that they really wanted to do. And then there's also that huge misconception out there that like, oh my gosh, I need care. I'm going to give everything away to my kids and get onto Medicaid. Doesn't work like that.
Okay.
So
I was going to say, because I've
Yeah.
heard of people
Yes.
doing that. I've heard those things quite
yes.
frequently, actually.
Yes, I'm sure in your line of work,
Yeah.
you probably do hear that. And, I feel a certain way about that we probably should not discuss on
Okay,
air.
okay,
But,
okay.
but overall, so you work really hard,
Yeah.
right? And isn't it wonderful that you worked that hard so that you can use your money for your care? And your children want you to do that. They want you to take really good care of yourself.
Yes.
And if there's something left over in the end, great.
And if there's not,
if
that's
there
okay.
isn't,
I
who
agree.
cares?
Right?
It's like this necklace here. This is my dad's badge. My dad was a police officer.
I love that.
And when he passed, I got this. And he wore it every day.
That's so
okay.
cool.
Oh.
This to me is $10 million. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We don't care. Kids
Yeah.
want their parents to be taken
Absolutely.
care of.
Yes,
we don't
I've
care
never
about
met,
that.
and I've worked with so many adult children with, selling of homes and things, and I've never met anyone that's like, you know what, mom, dad, because maybe, mom and dad are at that point, they are transitioning to assisted living or something, and none of them have ever said like, oh, I really hope you've got something left for me in the end. That's
Right.
never a thing.
Right.
And I agree with you.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot to be said for if they can get themselves an assisted living or some kind of care, it takes a lot of concern and worry off of
100%.
the adult children that have children a lot of times
Yes.
and crazy
Yes.
lives. And it's not like you don't want to help, but it's just like you're managing so much already.
You are.
know?
Yeah.
So,
And you have to, you want to be the caregiver,
Mm-hmm.
right? So in a crisis situation, you do what you can. But I will tell you, my mom was taking care of my dad at home as long as she could. My mom started getting hurt because my dad needed a Hoyer lift. He was in the home and needed those things. And then my mom started getting hurt. She fell. She messed up her shoulder.
Right.
And at some point, you have to say, you know what? It's time to be his wife and let the caregivers be the caregivers. And you can be there, but you need to just be his wife again. And that's a really hard thing to do. It's so much easier said than done because even as the daughter, you know, I was there as much as I could be, but I had little kids. I had a full-time job. You know, I had all those things,
Sure.
right? So you can't be there as much as you want to be there. But the reality is you'll hear it. I'm sure you've already heard it. I hear it all the time. Nobody wants to be a burden. You're not a burden.
Right.
But we also, I'm not a registered nurse.
Right.
Like, I need to leave some
Exactly.
of those things to the experts.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
And then it's that peace of mind, like you said, to know, like, you can go to work, you can have dinner and go out and do a girls' day with your daughter, and then you can go and visit mom and dad, and you
Yes.
can know that they're safe.
They're safe. Everybody's taken care of.
Everybody is
Like you
good.
said, everybody's got their meds, their meals.
Yes.
You know,
Their
all the
bingos,
things.
their
Yes.
cocktail hours, they are
Yes.
living
Yeah.
their best lives.
For sure. I love that. So what happens, this thought just came into my head. So what happens, because you were talking about your mom and your dad, and let's say one person gets to the point where they really need the care, like really, really need the care, right?
Or like a married couple.
Yes.
Okay.
We're talking about like husband and wife.
Yeah.
Husband really needs the care and they really don't have the resources for it. So obviously, you know, resources are going to kind of step in and help, right? But then wife, mom, grandma, whatever, she doesn't want to they don't want to be separated.
Yeah.
What happens then? Can she somehow go along or she would have to figure out a way to
Yeah, she
kind
can
of
go
pay her
along.
own way?
Yeah, she can go along in many instances. So I would say, from a resource perspective, even if there aren't a lot of resources, right? Let's say you live in a home, you're on a fixed income, you have one car now, those things. There are so many things that are protected for that person that's still going to be living in the community. The car, the home, like those things don't get taken from them because you'll hear that a lot. People are
That's
worried
what-
about
yeah,
things being
everyone
taken.
thinks that.
Yeah, and that's not true. There's a
Okay.
lot of really great carve outs out there, and we work with a lot of great attorneys in the area that are, you know, I definitely don't want to pretend to be one because I'm not one, that can provide you with all those great resources. But if there aren't a lot of resources, but there are some,
Sure.
there are some incredible communities in the valley where you can move in as independent as you want to be. People are driving. They have underground parking at a lot of these places. They have pools.
That's
they have, you know what I
awesome.
mean?
Right.
And so you can still go in not needing any care at all, and then your hubby can get the care. You're still getting everything that you need. And we find that so many couples are so happy with that because you know what? They don't want to cook anymore now. They're like, you know what? This is great. I'm so happy I did this. Now I'm only cooking a couple days a week.
Yeah, what's the youngest age for eligibility?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I would love to not have I love that. No.
Yes.
That's so great though. It really is. I love it.
Yeah, it really is awesome. But that was a really good question, and it does happen often. And they don't. And do you blame them for not wanting to be separated? Of course
No.
not. And then there's
Yeah.
also amazing home care options in the valley.
Okay.
So if he needs help, you're still at home. You guys are good. There are some incredible resources that can come right into the home and help.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so nice. I'm so glad to hear that we have so much of that in the Fox
do.
Cities. That's
Yeah.
really, really good. Wow. And you've dispelled some myths today. I mean,
it.
really, truly. I honestly thought that too.
Sure.
I thought that like if you, you know, and that's why everybody is put your house in a trust and, you know,
Yes.
this and that. We're not giving
Yes.
any advice here. We're
No.
just saying that people say these
Yes,
things.
exactly.
But what you're saying is they're not going to take your house and your car and
No, it doesn't. I mean, and people are scared about things like that, but it doesn't work like that. And the other thing is too is that yes, you can put the house in a trust. Okay, lots of people do that. But here's the thing: you put the house in a trust. There's usually a 5-year look back period, right? And let's just say that it has been the 5 years, right? I have perfect story. This happened just last month. And the house was in the trust for about 10 years.
okay.
Okay. Mom and dad only had enough for about a year.
Okay.
Okay. Private pay in a community. Dad needed more help than mom. They moved into a community. And I said to the kids, I said, okay, I understand that it's in a trust. This house is probably worth about $260,000, right? It's paid off. There's 3 kids. Everybody knows what they're going to get. If mom and dad need the money from that house to qualify to live in a community, because many communities want to see that you have enough funds to pay for at least 2 years private pay.
Okay.
Not upfront funds, but that you can show
Some sort of
that
assets.
you have that.
Yeah.
I said, would you be willing to do that? I said, I'm not trying to pressure you. I'm just asking, you know, and they're like, without question, that's their house. So if there's nothing left in the end, they
It
were
goes back to
okay
your
with
point
that.
of earlier, like,
Yeah.
people,
Yes.
kids want adult children. We want
Yes.
you to be
Yes.
taken care of and happy and live
Yes.
your life.
Yes.
And yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Oh, it always reminds me too of the story of like our great grandparents who they grew up in the the Depression, right? I mean, that
Sure.
was, and so they saved everything and they were very frugal, which is fine. That's great. But they never went on trips. They never did those things. And their kids were always telling, like my grandparents were always telling them,
Sure.
go do these things. We
Yes.
don't, thank you for thinking of us, but we would rather you spend your money while you're here.
Yes.
Great grandma would keep her plastic on her furniture.
Oh, I love that.
On her lamps, on everything. I remember like going over there and sitting down because, we're going to save what we have.
Yep.
And in the end, I know that they ended up in some sort of a nursing facility and everything ended up kind of going to that. And so it was like, So
Yeah.
that's what I always, and like my husband, who edits these, by the way, hi, Bill, love you. But I have to say, he's way more frugal than I am. And I see
Sure.
like, like you said, you need to plan. I think the long-term insurance was an amazing option.
Yes.
But you still also have to like live your life while you're
Yes.
here too, right?
Yes.
Because you can't take it with you.
No, you
Yeah.
can't. And I love things. You
Me
love things. We
too.
love things. It's okay.
Like you said, we work hard.
Yes.
Enjoy your life while you're here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I really feel passionately about that because
Yes.
it's such a big thing in I think so many families is as people get older, they think, what am I leaving for my kids? What am I leaving for my kids?
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? You raised us. You gave
we're
us life.
good.
You
Yes.
raised us. Thank you for everything.
Yes.
A lot of times you probably helped us pay for our wedding or our college
Yes,
or whatever.
Exactly. They sure did.
We're good.
Yes.
We're good.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, the amount of dance classes I'm currently paying for my daughter has got to be like, I'm already,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
already paid up.
I hear you. Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's awesome. I'm just so glad, like I said, I'm so glad to hear that there's those resources. Is there anything else that you would like to share about, Oasis Senior Advisors or just, anything in general?
I mean, I would love to just be a resource to
Mm-hmm.
folks in the Valley. I have an incredible team. Whitney Otto's great.
Yes,
Trisha.
Whitney.
Yes. Trisha, just an incredible team. We all have decades of experience in senior living, which I think really sets us apart because
Sure.
we really are experts in this field. It's, it's all I know. And I really carefully hand selected the people that are on my team, and we're like family. I mean, love them, love them, love them. So we all just want to be able to help, to give back. There's excellent resources out there, excellent partners out in the Valley. Certainly, you can come to our website,
Okay.
Oasis Senior
Yeah.
Advisors, Fox Valley.
Okay.
And there is a multitude of resources on there. Whitney is amazing with posting on, LinkedIn, Facebook. We're always kind of sharing all the new things that we're doing. Michelle Graff, the owner of Care Patrol, and I just launched the National Placement Referral Alliance. And so her and I are really getting involved in advocacy and legislation. And, I always say, and people laugh at me, I don't compete with anyone. I collaborate. And I mean
love
that
that.
wholeheartedly. I'm not making it up. I don't think it's funny. It's just true.
I agree with you. There's enough. There's
Yeah,
enough
like there
fish
really
in the
is,
sea.
and it's an honor to do what we do. And if you don't think that you want me to do it for you, then pick somebody else to do it for you.
Sure.
That will help you in your time of need.
Yeah.
But just don't try to do it on your own. There's so many amazing resources out there, and obviously Trisha, Whitney, and I would love to be able to help you. But there are amazing partners out there, and folks like you guys out in the market too. We'd love to get you guys in our database
Yes.
too, to be able to help provide that resource locally when people are looking to sell homes.
I love that, because I was just going to say there's a lot of times that I meet with, I mean, just in the last couple weeks, I've met with a few families, adult children, just kind of starting that process. And that's one of the things that they ask is like, do you have any resources for, this? And do you have any resources for this? And so it's always nice to, like you said, collaborate and have all of those things.
Yes. And try to have a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
We just launched the Who's Who in Healthcare. We had our first one last week. We sold the event out. We had 60 people come to Tipsy Taco in Appleton. We had a blast.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But it's really about just having a little bit of fun together, because what we do is really hard work.
Yeah.
It's really good work, but it's emotional work. And we just all need to be here for each other. And so it's been really awesome being up here. So, I mean, I really thank you both for having me on today.
Oh my gosh, thank you
Yeah.
for being here. So again, the website is
Oasis Senior Advisors,
Okay.
Fox Valley.
Oasis Senior Advisors, Fox Valley.
Yes.
Okay. And that's probably the best place then to get phone number and all the rest of the contact
Yeah,
info. Okay.
definitely. All of our numbers are listed on there. Again, we're on LinkedIn, Facebook. I mean, you can find us everywhere.
Yeah.
So
That's the nice thing about the era that we're in, right?
Yeah.
It's like go to the website and everything else will be there. It's so nice.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, thank you again so very, very much.
thank you so
We're
much for
very,
having me on.
very happy to have you and honored that you shared all of this great info with us, because again, it's something that I didn't know much about at all.
Yeah,
So
thank
I love
you
it.
so much for having me on.
Absolutely. Okay, so now we're gonna just
Yeah.
share a couple of weekend events, right?
Yeah, just some stuff that's going on in the area.
Yeah. You're sharing some weekend events?
Well, I was just following along.
Well, I think that you should share some. And didn't we have like a fun thing that little Blondie recorded? I can't remember now. I
thought you had one
I
on there.
thought it was something.
Do you want to hit one of the buttons?
Let's see.
Let's see what's happening this weekend in the 920.
There we go.
Yeah, so one of the big events that I always look forward to every summer, and it's where our mom and stepdad had their first date, is Paperfest.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
Aw.
they had their first date at Paperfest. I think.
How
in,
romantic.
what was it 2005, 6? One of those
She'll,
years.
you know what? She'll listen.
She'll
and
know.
She'll follow up
I'll get
with
it.
you.
Yeah.
I'll have a text on Tuesday that'll be like, it was actually this year.
Well, I think it was last week, we were talking about, I was telling him how our house that we grew up in, when they first bought the house, he's 12 years younger than me. So, when they first bought the house, it was lime green. Everything, the whole house was lime green. And he was like, no way. And then you said mom texted you, right?
Yeah, she
was
texted
like,
me on Monday, just out of the blue,
as
like,
a matter of fact,
that house was lime
the
green
whole
everywhere.
thing was lime green. I'm like, see, I do remember some things. I really do. All right, so Paperfest is going on all
Paperfest.
weekend, right?
Yeah, so Sunset Park in Kimberly. Yeah, so it goes Friday. So Friday is noon to midnight. Saturday is 10 a.m. to midnight. Sunday is 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's free admission. Paperfest is run by a lot of cool volunteers, and they give a lot of money back to the community through donations and stuff to nonprofits, et cetera, et cetera. So very cool. They do live music.
I know the bands
they
are
have-
usually great.
Yeah, they'll usually have like food trucks and that kind of,
Who doesn't
festival
like
food.
a good food truck?
Um,
Good food truck.
Give me a food truck, a band.
Oh, and there's alcohol, so
Well,
for the people that like that.
We're done. Are we going now? Is it open now?
can we start Paperfest? Are you ready for us? Oh my gosh, I love it. Cool.
Yeah. So
Very
that's just my
That's
favorite
happening.
one on the list.
All right.
You want to take
well,
the rest?
yeah, and then on Friday, so July 19th, Friday, Light the Night Market is happening downtown Appleton, which I've always wanted to go to. The last couple of years I've seen it. I think it's been going on for a couple of years. Looks super cool. This year I'm going to try to make it a point to actually get there. So it's basically open air market filled with food trucks. Again, the food trucks. Arts and crafts vendors, hands-on activities, street performers, live music. So basically they just shut down a part of the Ave and
Yeah.
Kind of have a big nighttime
Well,
fest.
it's like the farmer's market, but you don't have to be up at dawn to be there.
You know what? That's my favorite part. The night market is way more for me. So that starts at 5:30 on Friday and it goes till 9:30 downtown Appleton. And then let's see, July 20th, so Saturday. Ooh, this is kind of fun. You Belong Block Party. You Belong Block Party, celebrating volunteers and diversity in our community. So it says, join volunteer Fox Cities and celebrate diversity Fox Cities on Saturday. There's going to be a free world buffet, live entertainment, on-site volunteering, nonprofit carnival, food trucks, family friendly. So when they say free world buffet,
I assume that's
think-
like a continental buffet, but maybe larger.
okay,
I'm scaling it up
Not-
in my head here.
Yeah, I guess.
continental. This is between like state buffet. Well, my thought was maybe it was like foods
Or
from
it's
around,
like
That's what I
ethnic.
was thinking.
right?
Yeah, it's like ethnic stuff. Yeah.
You know what? We're going to have to follow up on that. It starts at 11 a.m. on Saturday, and it goes till 2, and it's at Smith Park in
Okay.
Menasha. Nick, take the next one.
You want me to take the next one? The old-fashioned ice cream social in honor of Hearthstone's first lady, Cremora Rogers. I think that's how you say that, Cremora. Anyways, Hearthstone will be serving up scoops of delicious, locally made ice cream at what we call our Cream Aura old-fashioned ice cream social.
All right.
We will be sitting at a table in
cute.
chairs in the backyard of the museum. The ice cream will be available by the scoop in bowls. The ice cream cone wasn't invented until 1904.
Well-
Fun fact there. The event is free, but we will be charging a modest amount for the ice cream as a fundraiser. It starts at 4:30 and it goes until 6:30 at the Hearthstone Historic House Museum, 625 West Prospect in Appleton.
It looks like that's on Sunday.
Yeah.
That is so
Oh yeah,
cute.
Sunday. I should have said that.
I love the Hearthstone. I love all the fun things that
Yeah,
they
I feel
do
like we
there.
talk about them a lot. They do a lot of
Well,
cool
they do a lot
activities.
of cool stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, and then Nick, I want you to finish out the last one as well.
Oh, okay. Stricker, Cars and Coffee. High Caliber Barbecue will be attending with food, but coffee will be provided. This is Sunday as well. Family and pet-friendly event. The racing sim will be set up again for a chance to win some free clothing. Racing a C8 Z06 Corvette on Road America and some other cool events. So it's a fun little try out your racing skills and get some coffee. This is
Probably do the coffee and then do the race. You know, the racing.
get your
Just really,
blood
Get
pumping.
yourself all
Exactly.
jazzed up.
Yes.
Yep.
9 a.m. to 1 p.m. W4970 Highline Road, Suite 3, Kaukauna.
That is very interesting. Do you know what I really like about this? And I'm just going to pat ourselves on the back here for a second. Is I honestly, when I read these, a lot of times I don't know, like, until I've
Yeah.
done this, prepared this, and done this, what is actually all going on. And I've actually done
Yeah.
quite a few of these things now.
And good job to Evelyn for making this
Yes,
wonderful
good
list
job
for
to our
us.
amazing summer intern, Evelyn, for always putting together the weekend
Yeah.
activities. Once she goes back to school, we're going to be doing it ourselves again.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much, Kate. I think
Thank
we've
you.
learned so much about Oasis Senior Advisors, and I think that it's just a great resource that everybody can check out.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you. I hope everybody has a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. To contact the Kelly Davies Homes team for all of your buying and selling needs, call 920-791-9047. Find us on Facebook at the Kelly Davies Homes team or go to kellydavieshomes.com.
So cute.
Fun.
That is so
She
cute.